Hi, my name is Jessica Ann Jenner and I am the Sustainability Lead at Bromley Little Theatre. I'm really sorry I can't be with you in person tonight or in Zoom tonight, but that's because I am taking part in an open air production of As You Like It in Sevenoaks with another company called Sevenoaks Shakespeare, who are also doing really exciting work in sustainability. So I just want to share a few of the things that we've done at Bromley Little Theatre, and also some of the things that I've done with Sevenoaks Shakespeare and the way that they are embracing the sustainability movement. At Bromley Little Theatre a few years back, we had the opportunity to have an eco-audit, which was absolutely fantastic. They gave us so much information about the variety of ways that we could approach sustainability, from choosing an eco-friendly bank to partner with for all our finance, to having vegan options at our ice cream bar, to choosing plays that had an eco message incorporated in them, and the obvious things like recycling from behind our bar and using and reusing materials for our plays. We've been working over the last year and a half to try and implement things that we can. Some of them are really long-term projects. We've been exploring funding so that we can replace our rig with LED lights. That's a really big long-term project. It has a huge cost to it. But in the meantime, we do have a vegan option of ice cream. We're making the simple switches, like having information about transport, including the nearest cycle bank to our theatre, available on our website. And we have worked to include at least one play in our season over recent years which has an ecological theme. This year we are performing Yellowfin in our bar performance space later in the year, and we're going to really push that eco message and find ways to share that story with our audience. Just before COVID, I was directing a production of Wind in the Willows, and I had a real picture in my head of what I wanted the poster to look like. A modern day riverbank complete with rubbish, an abandoned trolley, litter everywhere. And I wanted to use the production to tell a classic tale, but with an eco message. So we committed to only using recycled materials in our production. Everything on stage, from set to costumes to props, was recycled. That meant we spent a lot of time in charity shops and on Vinted to find costumes. We asked the cast to bring in a lot, and we also asked our audience to get involved as well. We wanted to create the willow trees for the production, and we decided to do that from green milk bottle tops and ripped up green plastic bags from places like the Co-op and Marks and Spencer's. And it was a really exciting project. We had real enthusiasm from our audiences, and we were also able to connect with Cleaner Greener Bromley, who run a local sustainability hub and who asked their members to collect for us. Unfortunately, because of COVID, the production was postponed and we didn't get to do it for a few years. But the commitment to collecting bottle tops did not end, which meant that when we finally got to do the production, we had nearly 8 large black sacks full of bottle caps. And we had to recruit our youth theatre to help make our willows, and hopefully you can see from these photos what an amazing impact that had. Our entire set was built from rubbish. Rat's boat was a bathtub, Badger's front door was a fridge, and the judge in our courtroom sat on top of an abandoned toilet. We had some wonderful conversations and feedback as we shared that eco message with people. It really came across. And we wanted to continue that work, and the bottle caps themselves and the willows have gone on to have a life far beyond what we expected. About 6 months later, they were used as part of a fashion show by a local group called Casper, who work to support young people, young adults and children with autism. And they were doing a recycled materials based fashion show, and they asked if they could use the willows. And so there was a great moment where a young girl wearing a dress entirely made out of bottle caps and willows paraded through our bar area as we hosted that fashion show for them. And then earlier in this year, in May, I was cast in a production of a play called Midsummer, which is an ecological take on the original Midsummer Night's Dream, in a world where we've forgotten the fairies and distributed litter everywhere. And we were able to create a tree for that production made out of recycled materials, including some of those bottle caps that we still had and the remaining materials. It's a really exciting story because I think it just shows the journey that things can go on and the possibilities if you really lean into being ecological. The production of Midsummer was by Sevenoaks Shakespeare. Their sustainability lead, Rod Henderson, has been really developing the way that they explore ecological subjects. They almost entirely Sorry, they're doing a sound check. They almost entirely work in the open air, so there's some really great opportunities to kind of raise the profile of ecological issues while you're sitting in a field. And one of the things they've committed to as a company is the Green Book. So the Green Book was written initially for professional theatres, thinking about how they could reduce their impact and become more sustainable. But Sevenoaks Shakespeare have committed to that ethos and to having at least 50% of everything in their productions recycled. So that means reusing costumes, reusing props from previous productions, borrowing things where they can rather than buying new. There's some really positive feedback from audiences that that's something they really appreciate. They've been trialling having online programmes rather than paper ones, and also just working with other societies, and we're really glad that we get to partner with them and help them in making their productions more sustainable. They're not a company that have their own theatre space, and as a theatre space which does and has our own staging that we can lend out, we've been able to support them in making that happen. And I was chatting with Rod, who is also currently busy with a play tonight, or he would have been there as well. And we both agreed that actually one of the things that is really exciting about amateur theatre is we already do so much that is sustainable. The reality is we reuse our sets over and over again. We just paint the same flats. We have costume stores with costumes that people recognise when they come to see our shows and they say, oh, I've worn that in a play. But that's something that we can really be proud of and showcase that actually that is what makes us sustainable. And the more that amateur theatres and groups can work together and share the resources they have, the easier that goal becomes. So if I can share one message with you about your mission to become more sustainable, I would say look at the way you can build relationships between different groups and societies. Celebrate and share the stories of things you're already doing. We're working really hard to just create more eco stories and speak out when we are doing things, and really do consider whether you can get an eco audit. It's such a brilliant opportunity to just think more widely about the ecological impact you have and to challenge your audiences to join you on that journey. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Thanks.